Conor McGregor vs Max Holloway 2 just happened in Las Vegas in the main event of UFC 329, where Max Holloway was able to finish Conor McGregor in the first round of their fight. Honestly, this fight was so poorly promoted, I feel like I only just found out about this fight this week. For someone who built up a career of incredible press conference moments, it seems like there was no build up for this fight at all. I think a lot of people who knew about it were probably looking forward to seeing Conor McGregor in the octagon again, but I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that this may have been the worst comeback of all time. It literally couldn't have gone worse than this. I think everyone managed to lose that night. His fans, who were probably hoping for him to come back, and even his haters who were hoping to see him lose badly. It ended so quickly, we basically didn't get anything out of it. After 5 years out of the octagon, this is basically all we get. I don't think anyone could have predicted the fight going like this. The fight started out with both of them coming out into the center. McGregor basically ran out and jumped off his back leg into a high kick, which narrowly missed Max Holloway. As he landed on his right leg, it looks like his leg basically just gave way and the fight pretty much stops there. He does try to get up, but it's clear that his leg is compromised and he couldn't do anything off of that leg. There's a lot of conspiracies being thrown around where there's clips of him warming up before the fight and people are claiming to see him struggling with his leg. People also think that he's just trying to get out of his UFC contract because he may have a certain number of fights left and this may have been an attempt to write one off. One thing is for certain, McGregor's stock is down more than ever. At one point it felt like the whole world was stopping to watch Conor McGregor, but now I'll be surprised if even a fraction of that will watch his next fight, if there is one. The last few McGregor fights have been nothing but disappointing, with his fight before this having been stopped after he broke his ankle against Dustin Poirier. It's only so far that the fans are willing to go. In order to sell a fight, you need success to be able to ride off. That's why when someone's on an incredible run, their stock is high and fans tune in to watch because there's some level of guarantee that the fight is going to be good. With the way McGregor is at the moment, we would be lucky to see him finishing a fight without getting injured. Honestly, I had a bad feeling about this fight as soon as the walkout was happening. McGregor is known to ooze confidence in the lead up to the fight, but I've never seen him look so anxious before. It was like he knew he was about to lose because it was so out of character for him. Not only was this fight bad for McGregor, but it was also bad for Max Holloway. Now you might be thinking, how could this possibly be bad for him? He got to show up and basically got a free paycheck without taking any damage. Max probably prepared for this fight for months. He has to come into this fight assuming he's up against a very dangerous version of McGregor. This was meant to be his ticket back into the top of the division, but instead, pretty much nothing happened. The best case for him would have been if he was in there with a poised and dangerous McGregor who pushes him to his limit, with Holloway eventually coming out on top, showing that he still has a place in the UFC. Instead, he's been a part of one of the worst main events of all time. He still gets the win on his record, but the fans won't care about that because of how it went down. He will never be able to show any kind of pride over this victory because it was a shallow victory against a broken and confused man. To me, it all seems strange. I think he may have had some kind of pre-existing injury around his knee, but then why open up with a jumping switch kick? As soon as he missed the kick, his leg gave way, but instead of trying to compose himself and assess the state of his leg by staying a bit relaxed, he went for another kick straight away. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but come on, this was just weird. We know there might be something wrong with the leg, so why blast kicks out at full power? If his leg was compromised before the fight, he should have pulled out because this has done too much damage to both himself and his career. Even when he was warming up, there was a moment where he threw a kick on the pads and it was like he stumbled for a slight second when he was going back into his stance. You can see him give his pad man a look of anxiousness for a brief second before composing himself back into his stance. Even right at the end of the walkout, we saw him take his shoe off for a second and it was like his legs just gave up and he had no balance. It's a shame because the whole event was stacked and this would have been the cherry on top, but instead it's been a disaster. McGregor walked into the fight getting cheered like it was the good old days, but he left getting booed out of the stadium, and who can blame them? The cheapest ticket just to get into the arena cost over $1,000, with the floor tickets coming close to $5,000. The UFC is probably in a bad position with McGregor at the moment because they're supposed to have him for one more fight and the likelihood of him getting injured again is high. Who would even be willing to pay for that fight? The only way I can see tickets being sold is if they do an event in Dublin. I know a lot of people in Ireland have been complaining about McGregor, but let's be honest, he's their biggest star that they've had in the last few decades. Hate him or love him, they want him back because he puts them on the map. One thing I feel like isn't talked about is McGregor's mental state after this. People have seen his character devolve and break down parallel to his career. The worse his career went, the more self-destructive he became. We finally saw him put himself back together for this fight, only for it to end in the worst way possible, and we might just see McGregor hit a new low after this. He just started to get away from the partying side, and whatever you think of religion, he seemed to become more religious, and it was looking like he was more stable and at peace. It must be really mentally destructive to go into a fight after 5 years just for your leg to get destroyed a minute into the fight. We may see him fall back into old habits to cope with this, and I hope he's able to somehow stay away from the bad influences that got him to this point. In terms of what's next for McGregor, I don't think we'll see him in the octagon again anytime soon. He's still with the UFC and has a fight left with them, so they may just wait until he's ready to get back in there and put him up against someone who's on their way out. But it took him 5 years to come back after his loss to Dustin Poirier. The next time we'll see him is probably when he's in his 40s, and that's if he even makes a return. In terms of what's next for Max Holloway, he's currently ranked 4 in the lightweight division, and the division is stacked at the moment. Paddy Pimblett also fought on the same night and managed to submit Benoit Saint-Denis, so this sets up a fight between Holloway and Pimblett. People are saying that there may be a third fight between Holloway and McGregor, but what's the point? We all know the fight wouldn't be competitive because McGregor shouldn't be competing anymore. I'd like to see Holloway fight other ranked lightweights because he does have potential to go for another run at the title. We may even see a rematch between Gaethje and Holloway. Let me know what you guys thought of the fight and what do you think is next for McGregor.